welcome everyone to our first virtual Grandparents and Special Friends Day. It's always one of my favorite days of the year when we welcome the grandparents and special friends to our campus. And since we can't do that this year, I'm really excited that you're all going to get to be welcomed by our amazing class of 2020, who are the people you can see on the screen right now. Right now we can only see the class of 2020 and their sponsor, Mr. Crimmy. And right now everyone is muted, all the guests are muted, and you will have a chance to speak later on. I'd like to start with showing you a little tiny video of the students. This is a class that loves to sing together, and it's really fun to watch them. Unfortunately, we didn't know that we needed to record them doing this ahead of time. So I only had a couple little clips to work with, but I just wanted to share that with you because it's fun to watch them. So I'm going to share my screen and show you a little 30-second video of this class a couple times that they were singing together. So those are our seniors, and now I'm going to turn over to Mr. Crimmy to host you and tell you what's happening next.
Hi, I'm Steve. I'm Steve Crimmy, the sponsor of the class of 2020, and this is Muffin over my shoulder here. And I am very proud to be the sponsor of the class of 2020. They are a multi-talented group of people in addition to their singing talents, and so they are each going to speak a little bit about what they did for their senior projects and what their plans are after high school. And then when we open it up to questions, they will share some memories from their high school experience, and hopefully some of you can share some of your memories from your high school experiences. So we are going to start with Makeda, because Makeda is immediately to my right in this Zoom call. So Makeda, tell us about your senior project and about your plans for after college.
For after college? I haven't even thought about life after college. Okay, so my name's Makeda Hevren. For my senior project, I studied some women's history in relationship to quilting specifically and created a quilt as part of that project. Once I graduate, I'm really excited this summer to spend a lot of time gardening and making crafts and learning new skills. And then in the fall, I will be attending Middlebury College in Vermont. And I'm hopefully going to be able to be on campus in the fall, but it might be partially or completely online for the first semester. So either way, I will be there in the fall. And then I don't know, I have a lot of interests that I'm excited to study, specifically environmental sciences, dance, and different languages, which is one of the reasons I wanted to go to Middlebury. So I have a lot that I'm excited about in the future. I haven't thought a lot about after college, but that's my 4-year plan. And then I'd like to travel more after college, so that's my 5 years.
Emma Lucarelli.
Hi, my name is Emma Lucarelli, and my senior project was wildlife rehabilitation. And for college, I'm going to Landmark. It's in Putney, Vermont. And that was like the only school I visited, but I really like this school because it's super supportive and it's for kids who learn differently, and it's a really neat school and I love it a lot, and I'm super nervous and excited to go to it next year. but I'm like really looking forward to it. And I think for the summer, I want to focus on like getting a job and getting my license, so that's gonna be good. And see, also for the summer, I am also doing some fun things. I'm horseback riding with my family, so it'll be fun. Excited about that. And yeah, I'm like excited for what the future holds. So
Thank you, Emma. Harriet.
Hi, I'm Harriet Veltkamp. My senior project was on film production and how and why we portray story, emotion, and humanity through film. And so I just studied all of the steps of film production, and then my original plan was to make a short, full short, but I couldn't do that because of COVID-19. And so I just did all of the steps up until the filming, and then I made a short video at home. And my plans for the future are a little bit unsure, but I am going to American University in Washington, D.C., either this fall or next year. I might take a gap year, I'm not sure yet. And I'm super excited for that. I'm hoping to study musical theater, which is one of my passions that I would love to pursue a career in that area. So hopefully sometime after college, I will be moving to New York City and pursuing that.
Audrey.
Hi, I'm Audrey Ely, and my senior project was on the benefits of art therapy and who specifically can it benefit. So I explored the two branches of art therapy and then actually made a home studio and spent a lot of time working on art and reflecting on myself, which was extremely beneficial for my senior year. And in the fall, I'm going to be attending Willamette University out in Oregon. I hope to study psychology and become a therapist, but I'm trying to keep my options open and explore different courses and see if that's something I really want to pursue by the end of the time I have to declare my major.
Nicholas Coughlin.
Hello, my name is Nicholas Coughlin. And for my senior project, I studied community, like what it is and how to build community. And I attempted to create my own little community by hosting a series of group cooking events. And so I'm going to be taking a gap year this next year, in which time I hope to gain some experience on different farms, as well as possibly homesteading, and with different kind of subjects in that, different areas in that subject matter. And then the next year, I will be attending Oberlin University in Ohio.
Emma Host Frederick.
Hi, my name is Emma Hose Frederick, and for my senior project, I explored the relationship between humans and animals, both on a societal level and on an individual level, looking at the advantages, but also the flaws of the human-animal relationship. And next year, I am likely going to attend UVM here in Vermont.
Ronald Mazel.
I for my senior project, I studied the driving force behind passion in creative people, what drives people to seek out something in their life, to feel passionate about it and what that means. And I interviewed 4 people, entrepreneurs and artists, to sort of see if I could find out what that was and share it with people. For the future, it's, you know, obviously it's somewhat, you know, I'm unsure, but I'm going to a college in Maine, and I'm excited about that, and I'll sort of see, you know, I'll see, you know, where life takes me.
Bates College, correct, Ron?
Yep, Bates College.
Ryan Putnez.
Hello, I'm Ryan Fontanez. For my project, I studied car mechanics and learned how to just fix and repair cars. So I just worked with my local mechanic and studied it just around my life and worked on different cars. So next year I'm going to be taking a gap year and just traveling around and working. And then after that, I'll also be attending Oberlin College.
Marcos Liserog.
Hi, I'm Marcos Liserog. Next year, for my senior project, I built a live edge desk. And so I bought a big slab of red oak and then planed it flat. And then I'm in the process of, after quarantine is lifted, I'm going to make legs out of steel piping and learn how to weld. And then I also have a shelf. And so I've combined woodworking, metalworking, and also some stoneworking as a little piece. And then next year I'll be taking a gap year to, also depending on the quarantine situation, in the fall possibly hiking in the Alps and Dolomites, and then in the spring maybe doing a Where There Be Dragons program in the Andes, but kind of all up in the air right now. And then next year, in the following year, I'll go attend Hamilton College.
Right, Julian.
Hi, I'm Julian Salazar. For my senior project, I chose to repair a Volkswagen Vanagon. And so I've been working on a van for about a year now. And my plan is to continue working on it, and then I'll be taking a gap year, hopefully in the van, traveling across the country. And then after the gap year, my plan is to go to Colorado College.
This class has a long history with the school. There are 5 members of the class who've been in the school since kindergarten or earlier. And there are 5 members of the class who had a sibling go through the high school. And 3 of them, Ryan, Marcos, and Nick, are actually the 3rd sibling in their family to graduate from the high school. So think about a memory, guys, that you've had from your time, be it longer or shorter. And Laura, maybe we can open it up to some questions, and then we'll sprinkle in the students' memories amongst the questions. And if panelists have high school memories, they can share them as well.
Okay. Before I do that, I wanted to share a little video from Molly Tatlock, who's another senior who couldn't be with us today because her older brother, who's an alum from our school, is graduating from college today. So she sent me a little video so she could introduce herself to you also. So I'll share my screen and show you Molly.
Hello, my name is Molly Tatlock. I'm part of the senior class as well, but it is currently my brother's college graduation, so I can't be there with all of you. But I just wanted to say hi and tell you a little bit about me. I did my senior project on bee populations declining. This summer I will most likely be cashiering at Shelburne Supermarket and seeing my friends from 6 feet apart, of course. I will be attending Mount Holyoke College in South Hadley, Massachusetts this fall in person, if with any luck. But I'm so excited for that, and I hope you had a lovely Grandparents' Day. Bye!
Does anyone have questions for the seniors? Or you could also share a memory from your high school time if you'd like to do that.
Hey, Nan.
Hi, Harriet.
Hello, Harriet.
You guys, I was there a lot during kindergarten, 1st grade when they moved up to Vermont. And so I just felt like I knew the teachers and a lot of the kids, and it's been a great experience for me. I just have a comment to make about people of your, so many of you did senior projects that were on, fixing the van, learning how to repair cars, that kind of thing that when I was in high school, it was called a comprehensive high school, which most were, and you had kind of a, not socially all the time, but there was shop for the guys, and I can't remember exactly what, home economics for the girls, and you had to take one semester if you were a girl that was cooking and sewing, and but there also was a group that was where they were headed in their lives, and so they would do academics in the morning and then do the home ec or the mechanics or woodworking, or it included learning to become an electrician, all of that. That was your whole afternoon. And so, a lot of the girls went out to be secretaries too in the afternoon. So there was that divide, and so a lot of us weren't taught how to actually do things, to do things. So I'm just really struck, I was struck by that. And I think it's wonderful. It's lovely. So I don't really have a question, I don't think. I've just loved being there. Obviously loved being with my granddaughter. So that's it. It's hard for us too to be so far away. We've not seen these guys. I'm sorry to tear up it a long time. And so, but good luck to all of you. It all sounds wonderful. So do you take me off? Okay, thanks.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi. I have a question about your trips, and I'd love to hear some memories, as embarrassing as possible, about some of your, either the Odyssey or some of your camping trips, because I'm sure you have some beautiful things to tell us.
Anybody want to dive in there? Don't all dive in at once. Marcos, tell us something about the Odyssey trip.
About the Odyssey.
Okay,
I'll do winter camping.
Okay, tell us about winter camping.
Well, my favorite memory was one day we did I think it was like 17-hour long day where we got up at like 6 a.m. and then we set out on cross-country skis and our big backpacks that were all insanely heavy, and I was the navigator, and we didn't think the destination was too far away, and so we're planning to get there before dark and set up camp as usual, but it ended up taking much longer, and at the end we were in the dark. It was like 10 o'clock at night, and we were kind of bushwhacking through the forest, and we had no clue where we were going, and it was very fun. It was exciting.
We just got a question from John Taylor, who's a guest here today. He said, as seniors, you had much of the school year in person and the last part online. For students who follow you, what's the best mix of online and in person? Is there a helpful role for online in normal times? So if you want, you can keep answering Lisa's question, or if you want to add thoughts about what John is asking, you're welcome to do that.
Audrey.
Yeah. I have an answer to John's. I feel that some of the online learning was extremely easy to do online. That was more of an individual work. So a lot of French class that we had online was easier to do online. But then we had an optics block that was a lot about reflecting and interacting with the people around you. And I just realized that having the in-person, in-classroom experience was so much more helpful than I realized, because you can interact with the students around you and it helps gain a new perspective for yourself. So I think some of the more academic stuff can be done online and is easier to do online maybe, but as far as interacting with classmates, it's so much better in person.
Other seniors, you're welcome to share your thoughts about what John asked or more memories from your trips like Lisa was asking about.
Harriet.
I had another answer to the question that John had asked. I think I agree with Audrey, like for a lot of the actual classes where we're interacting, it's easier to be in person. But I think two things I found with the online is that for like writing papers and even when we were in class, like being able to access things you've made online was super, super helpful. And also being able to turn those things in online was nice organizationally. And then the other thing that I found, not only just with school, but also outside during quarantine, is having access to like classes from people who live halfway across the country. And I think that that's something that's really cool and could possibly be used. Like one of our teachers, Miss Collins, lives in Ireland, I believe. And so like she could possibly teach a class in the future online. So I think that that could be a really, really useful tool that we could use.
Makeda?
It's a smaller idea, not anything that we've been using because we've all been learning remotely. But I think that since we're all a little more tech savvy now, maybe in the future, in future years, if a kid is out sick, they could maybe participate in the class through a Zoom meeting or something. And that would help cut back on makeup work and stuff like that on longer trips. So I was thinking that might be a solution for if people are sick and they're out for a long time.
I observed to some of the students that we never ever have to have a snow day ever again, but people didn't really go.
I wanted to welcome Rick Bell, who's joined us, and I think he has a question for you.
Yeah. Just want you to know, I took a gap. My grandchildren go to your school. They're a lot younger than you are, but it's Sam and Emma Cornelius. And I just wanted to say I took a gap year after high school. First, during the summer, me and two of my lifelong friends at that time, who had also graduated, went to Alaska. We lived in Ohio and we drove to Alaska, and it was we camped, and it was just an amazingly great trip and something that I would recommend for all of you just to have fun during this gap year. And then after that, I took a year in Switzerland and I traveled around Europe. But when I went to Ohio Wesleyan the next year as a freshman, it was not exciting. And I'd had such an exciting summer and such an exciting year that it was really a letdown. So I just wanted to warn you against that and see, you know, if you do experience that, it's just something, I can't give you any advice on it, but I would just warn you to expect that college is not near as fun as a gap year. And you may just find that when you get there that it's not everything you wanted it to be after having experienced such a great gap year. I'd still recommend it though.
Does our resident Alaskan want to comment?
We met a 12-foot Kodiak bear who was protecting her cub and came at us as though we were trying to steal her cub. But that was exciting. So and many other exciting times.
I just had a question. I actually lived in Alaska for 2 years, and my dad grew up there. And so I was wondering where you visited when you were there.
We drove up the Alcan Highway, which is mostly in Canada, and you come into the center of Alaska, and there's a little town 90 miles in from the Canadian border called Tok, T-O-K. And at Tok, there is nothing more than a few people that live there and a little tavern that has a gas station and a motel. Mm-hmm. And it was a Sunday, and we had promised our parents that we would call them every Sunday night. And as far as they were concerned, we were going to Colorado, spending a week there and coming home. And so on the Sunday night that we called them from Colorado, we knew we had 1 week to get to wherever we were going to go. And when we decided on Alaska, wisely chose not to go to Mexico, and California was just not that exciting. So we went to Alaska, and we walked into this little tavern. It was quite full with people sitting around a big U-shaped bar. And we told them their story, and they all knew what was about to happen. And we called, there was no cell phones or anything. So we called our parents from the phone in the tavern, and everybody in the bar was, waiting to hear how they would react. So it was, we were the hit of the town, I'm sure, that evening.
That's awesome.
And then we came back. We didn't spend, we were not allowed to go any further. The hammer came down, and the advice was, come home right now.
Pam Graham had a question for you or a comment.
Oh. Am I unmuted? Yes, you can hear me. Hi, everybody. I am the grandmother of Ray Francis Scuddy in the kindergarten. And this is my husband, Ted Panacucci, who's grandfather of Ray. But more importantly, I feel that I was the admissions director for 30 years at the school, and I think I enrolled every one of you, maybe not one, but almost every one of you.
Everybody but Emma, I think.
Yes, exactly. Melinda enrolled Emma. And it's been such a privilege and a pleasure to watch you guys grow up, several of you from the kindergarten and some of you into the high school. But I've watched many of your senior project presentations, and I'm just so impressed and proud. And I'm getting tearful because I love Waldorf education, and you guys are the picture of what the gifts of Waldorf education have given you. So I wish you all the best on your next endeavors. It sounds like some exciting plans, and just happy to see you all, and congratulations and good luck on your graduation.
Thank you.
No question.
Is there anyone else? Any 12th graders have any other memories to share of trips or anything like that? So we kind of got sidetracked. Go ahead, Nikita.
I feel like I have to say, because you asked specifically for an embarrassing memory, on the Odyssey trip, which was in 10th grade, we did a solo for most of the morning, and I guess like the day for most of the day. I think it was around 6 hours. I don't know exactly, but partially through it, I got really bored of where I was sitting, so I started to climb down a hill, and Ron thought that I was going to fall off of it, so he came running over, even though we weren't supposed to talk or interact at all. And on my way down, I stepped in a big hornet nest and got like 8 stings all up my legs. It hurt so bad. And Ron was like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And I was like, "No, I'm not okay." I just got like so many hornet, probably stings and bites. It was ridiculous. So he was sitting next to me like, "Oh, should we go back to the main area and make sure you're okay?" And then we got in trouble because we weren't supposed to be talking to each other. So not only did I step in a hornet's nest, I also got in a lot of trouble for talking to Ron during our solo, which it was so ridiculous in the moment, but looking back is just hilarious.
Audrey?
I have another memory that's kind of funny, but I feel really bad still about it, from the Odyssey trip. So we were camping one night on this, it was like right by the river before it gets to the lake of Lake Champlain. And I think it was Crown Point, actually, maybe. But it was right by a campground, but we weren't staying in the campground. And it was really late at night. I think it was the middle of the night, but I woke up and I realized Molly, the one who said her little video earlier, her mat and her sleeping bag was empty right next to me. And Ryan was awake and he was like, Molly's been gone a while. Do you think she's okay? And I was like, oh, she'll be fine. Like, she probably just went to the bathroom. And then I kind of went back to sleep because I was really tired. And then I woke up later and Molly still wasn't there. And like, I felt, and her sleeping bag was like cold. And I think I even went back to sleep after that. I don't really know. But then Molly came back in the like way later and woke me up when she was coming back. And she had gotten lost and she'd gone all the way across the campground. And I don't know, ended up in the middle of the woods and was yelling to people, but nobody could hear her. And then she found her way back to this bathroom. And she just slept in the bathroom for a while because she was too scared to go back out into the woods and try to find us. And she still gets annoyed at me that I didn't like wake anybody up or like try to find her. But she made it back fine. But we still laugh about it. Well, I kind of do. So that was it. That was a fun memory.
So I think
we all do, besides Molly.
I think we have a few more grandparents in.
Wait. Audrey, didn't you get lost on the backpacking trip?
Yes, but that was probably karma. I did get lost.
You were like 10 feet away from us. And you
I
were
know,
like, oh, where are you? And I was like, Audrey, we're right here.
I remember hearing you call out.
I had to go get you.
I'm going to call on Keith Vanderlyn, who I think has a question. Oh, I have to unmute him. There we go. Go ahead, Keith.
Hi, Julia, and congratulations, everybody. I would ask Laura a question first. Did the juniors get to see this or hear? Do you replay this for the juniors?
I am recording it, so I can, yeah.
Okay. So I missed our graduation at Penn College this year, but what we often do is have the seniors at the end of their presentations give some advice to the juniors. So I thought maybe each person could go in line and make a statement about what they would want to say to the juniors, maybe some advice.
Anybody have any thoughts? Audrey.
Sorry, I'm talking a lot. I would probably say not to rush through senior year because ours was a tiny bit short. And I know I went into senior year and was thinking about college and the next steps because that's a lot of what senior year is about, is applying to colleges and thinking about what you're going to do if you're going to do a gap year or anything like that. And so I feel like I started off my fall not really like thinking about my classmates as much as thinking about the future. And so I think a big word of advice for juniors is to really take the time to be with your classmates because it's been a long journey and it's starting to wrap up. So that's probably what I would say.
Harriet?
I was going to say basically the exact same thing. Just really enjoy your class, hang out with them as much as possible. Because like, this is super sad, but like, you're not going to be in class with them for forever. So just take the time and like really enjoy being with them.
Nick?
I would say pick a senior project that you are really interested in and are passionate about because you will be spending a lot of time on it. And especially college applications are so stressful. If your senior project can be something that you enjoy and can kind of de-stress while doing, that is a big deal. And also know that whatever you decide on first is probably not the way your project's going to be.
Julian?
I would definitely agree with Nick about pick a senior project that you love. And with Audrey and Harriet about enjoy spending time with your class and spend as much time as you can with your class.
Makeda?
My advice, which is advice that I wish I had gotten going into senior year, is to pick a few colleges that you're genuinely really interested in and only apply to those. because I went super overboard and spent so much time applying to so many different places that I didn't need to. So if you can narrow down where you want to go maybe during junior year and over the summer so that you don't overwhelm yourself too much in the fall. And then also with applying to colleges, once it's done, don't worry about it after that because you can't do anything else once you finished applying. So that would be my advice.
Marcos?
My advice, but not yet experienced it, but take a gap year.
There it is in a nutshell. Ryan?
I would say just regarding senior projects, just get started on it early and keep working on it even like in the beginning of the year, because I kind of procrastinated a lot and then it left a lot of stuff to do at the end of the year.
All right, I think we're ready for another question.
All right, how about Steve Kellogg? Wait, let me unmute you, Dad. There you go.
I'm Julian's granddad and someone else's dad who's in the audience there. So it struck me that you guys are in a class of 10 kids and you've been through all of your school with a really small group of kids. And I'm wondering what you think about going to colleges, even those of you going to the really small colleges, still way bigger than your school now. So I'm curious about what you think about next year or the year after your gap year, about being in a much larger group of kids. What excites you about it and what sort of makes you a little bit sort of nervous about it? That's my question.
I'm excited to be able to meet a lot of new people, but I also am very grateful that I've been in a very small class, because I think that you get, when you're in a group of 10 people, you have to work out social problems, and you end up being friends with people that you would not normally be friends with because there just aren't many options. And so I am really, I feel I have a real genuine friendship with each member of my class, which I think is a really, really good thing for a future that I can take into life, and also just the that ability to know that you can be friends with anyone if you work at it. But it's also going to be fun to meet people and have, I think the college I'm attending the class size is going to be like 400 or 500 people. So I'll probably have a good opportunity to meet lots of people with my interests. So that'll be fun.
Audrey?
I think that being in a small class throughout high school has really taught us all to be forward thinkers and to participate really well in class and speak out for our opinions and ourselves. And so looking forward to a bigger class size, I think that will be really beneficial for me, because I'm not afraid to speak out and I'm not afraid to participate well in discussions and in class. So I think that'll be very helpful going into college and being a little less intimidated about that.
All right. Barbara, did you have a question? Laura, I think Laura has to unmute you because I don't have that power.
Yes. I've been watching your class working out your graduation, and I've been kind of wondering how you would, each of you, explain how the coronavirus quarantine time has really changed you, but also what kind of thing will you take into the future for having lived this experience at this point in your life?
Anyone want to take that one? Harriet?
I think one of the biggest things that I've taken out of this is like how much I appreciate being able to hang out with my class, and just really how much I love every single person in it. Like not being able to see them, I feel like there's so much I'm missing. And so just like in the future, being really aware of the loving people I have around me, and feeling their presence when I'm with them, I think is something I want to work on. There's something else I was going to say, and I forgot what it was. But yeah, mostly just like really appreciate the people you have around you.
There's another question there, Laura, in the participant queue.
Okay, I was just going to add a little more to that, because having jumped and learning to do something pretty fast and having to adapt to it, I've watched you all do that with your senior projects and stuff, and I just really, I want to affirm that, you know, when you run into something difficult, you can think, wow, I did that, you know, however long it lasts, and remind yourself of that.
Up there, see.
The Bell Camps have arrived, and I think they have a question.
You're going to be coming. Good morning. We are 4 hours behind you because we're in Alaska. Harriet, congratulations on your graduation, and congratulations to all the rest of you too for working so hard and fulfilling many dreams of your first 12 years. So blessings on your gap years or your college choices. Just enjoy what you're doing, and just have a good time, and blessings to you all.
Thank you.
Harriet, I was just thinking about the fact that you're kind of the national girl there. So you started your education in Jacksonville, Florida. You had part of it in Anchorage, Alaska. It was most of it in Vermont. You've had some intensive studies in San Francisco. So you've been in every corner of this country. And I would like you to see if you can kind of tell about what each one meant to you.
Okay. I think Florida, I don't remember a whole lot. So mostly, well, I do, but I think family is in Florida, Nana and Dougie. And then Alaska was really just an adventure. And I think coming back from Alaska was probably like, I came back halfway through 6th grade, and that was when I feel like I really started making the friends that I have now. And I think Vermont is really my home. I've been here for a really long time, and with this class, and it's really cool to have this community here, and specifically you guys, the 10 of you in this class. I really feel like you're another family, and I've been with some of you since I was like 5, which is so cool. I remember Julian, I've said this before, but I remember him in kindergarten with his little Oompa Loompa costume, and like we made shelters in 3rd grade, and I just have so many memories here. And so I think this is really where I've grown and become who I am now, and it's just so cool. I think it was hard to move around a lot because I was having to make new friends, but I think through the past couple of years I've realized that like I really have a home here, which is super special.
Bravo, girl. Yeah.
Love you guys.
Anyone has other questions you'd like to pose, let me know.
Okay, oops, sorry.
That's all right.
Keith and Grandma?
Yeah, I have one more question. Community seems to be the key word for this group. So I'm wondering how they'll build that kind of environment next year. So what skills did they learn about, they learned the importance of community, but did they learn any skills and how would they approach it so that they're, so that they can form community again?
Nick did a presentation about that. So you guys can actually all find our presentations and you can watch Nick's presentation and hear about how to build community. I think, what?
There's a good plug for the senior project.
Yeah. I think, yeah, Nick said that there's a lot of work that goes into like building community. I think my goal is to kind of find community based on like my interests around like outdoor activities. So yeah, I think I'll be searching for some new communities.
Any others have thought about that? Nick.
There we
It's
go.
right up.
So I did do this year-long project on studying community and kind of what creates community. And one of the most important things that I found is that successful communities are built around people who have shared values. And I think that going through Waldorf and having this experience together, each of us has really become pretty secure in what our values are. And we know that pretty well. And so it's going to be pretty easy for us going into the future to be sure that different groups we encounter align with our values. And so we'll know really who to connect with. So I have full confidence that that will be quite easy for us.
Emma?
Similar to what Julian said, yeah, I kind of want to like build a community in college by like around my hobbies and find people who like what I like to do and kind of just like build a community that way.
Guess we have access to Nick's.
Keith?
Do we have access to Nick's senior project somehow?
Yeah, I'll send you the link.
Okay, good, thanks.
Harriet, did you have your hand up?
Sorry, I've been talking so much. I just have one quick thing. I think conversation also is something that we've learned how to do to build community, is like really just talking to each other. Like we've had class meetings for 12 years. And like what someone was saying earlier about having a small class, you have to learn how to work through your issues. And I think that's a really big part in community, is being able to talk to people about how you feel and like bringing up those core values. So I think that that is a tool that we've learned that will be incredibly helpful in the future.
Emma Hoser-Frederick, I'm going to put you on the spot because you had to come into this community when it was sort of already formed. And that's kind of what, especially those of you going on to college, will have to do in a way is find your way in to be a new person in a formed community. And I'm wondering what that experience was like for you.
Yeah, I came in the beginning of 11th grade, so last year, and I think it was really easy with this group because they were all so welcoming and kind. And I think for next year, it's just gonna be, as Nick said, like finding groups that like have the same values as you, and what Julian and Emma said about finding groups like with the same interests, but also it's gonna be a lot about putting out the effort. So
All right, Laura, we've reached the awkward pause.
Oh, Keith has something to add.
Okay.
I'm gonna, am I muted?
Nope.
I'm gonna add, I like the number 3, so I'm gonna go for 3 questions. So I'm gonna throw this out to the group. What was, besides the current pandemic, what was the, let's say, the major problem that you had in your time at school, and how'd you overcome it? You can start with Julian.
I guess as a class, we kind of had individually and as a class, my like greatest problem was kind of like forming a like strong class bond. And so that was like something that was like a problem for the class in ninth grade and as well as a problem for me in ninth grade. And sort of through that, we, I guess, just like had meetings, we had trips, and like kind of talked about what the problem was and like sort of, yeah, I guess just talked about it and worked through that with like spending time together. And yeah, I think that was probably the biggest like thing that I had to overcome, and the class as a whole.
Audrey.
Yeah, I was gonna say freshman year too. If you know our class as a whole now, you would not see the way we are now in ninth grade. We were all very separated. It was hard because a lot of like about half the class came from the grade school and had known each other for a while, and then a bunch of us were new. So it was about like integrating into the class and kind of discovering the way that we can interact with each other in a helpful and productive way. And so we had our difficulties freshman year, but we definitely worked them out, and I think we are all stronger because of that.
It looks like we're kind of, oh, Barbara, did you want to say something?
I'm curious if you have come to any ideas or resolutions about doing a virtual graduation, or is that a surprise to be revealed at some future time?
The short answer to that is that we're still working on that, and that the parameters are changing. We thought as recently as the beginning of this week that we had a clear picture of what the parameters were going to be, and then they have changed again. They seem to be changing in the less towards the less restrictive from the more restrictive, but it's still going to be limited compared to how it's been in the past in terms of attendance and that sort of thing. But so the short answer is we don't really know at the moment, but we're cautiously optimistic that some kind of in-person thing will be able to happen, but probably not for 200 people or that sort of thing. Makeda.
We have been preparing for it as a class. We've been doing meetings, and we're going to be preparing songs as well as poems. And so we're trying to make it as traditional as possible. But we don't really have a clear idea of what it will be yet.
So before we finish, I wanted to tell you that a couple of people have mentioned the senior project presentations. And I wanted to just tell you, some of you have seen them and some of you haven't. Each student did a maybe half-hour presentation about their senior project, and we recorded those presentations. And so you can see the presentation of any of these students if you'd like to, any or all of them. And I'll send you a link. I think you can find it from our website, but I'm going to send you a direct link to where you can see all of them more easily. So if I have your email address, you'll get an email from me about how to see those. And it's pretty fun to watch them. Having seen all of them, I can tell you it was a really special group of presentations. So I invite you to come watch them anytime. If anyone has any last advice to these seniors, feel free to share it, and otherwise we'll wrap up in a moment.
We're not on, right?
You're on.
Oh.
Did you want to say something?
No.
I teach photography at Penn College, and as I look at the screen and thinking into the future where we probably be doing more of this, Julian especially needs to think about the light, where it's coming from and how it defines the form. Some of you are backlit, some of you look beautiful with the light, and some of you, we're not in the best light either, but watch the light. Pay attention to the light.
Okay, so that could be your parting advice to go off into your day and your future. I want to thank all of you for coming to our first ever virtual Grandparents and Special Friends Day. I know some of you have been to our in-person Grandparents Days before, and I'm sorry I can't send you off into a classroom with some adorable child now, but I hope you'll have a chance to visit with your own grandchildren, even if it's in a room like this, during this time. All right, so Rick, did you want to say something? No.
He's just waving goodbye.
Okay. All right. Thank you all for coming. It was really great to see you all, and thanks for your advice to our seniors. And seniors, thanks for sharing your experience with our guests.